class before me,
Right.
and they let us out early to go
All
practice
monitors.
football. So Murray Legs was out there, and we all knew him, me and this guy George Hatfield.
Yeah.
So we stopped by, and she said, "I have to write your names down." And we said, "No, I don't write our names down. We're going to football practice." And she said, "I have to do it." So we started messing around with her. And it's a hell of a story, and I'm embarrassed by it, but it's true. Anyway, George ended up with her panties. Okay, he did, not me.
Right.
And on the third floor. And we fooled around enough, that the bell rung and all the students come out.
You're late.
And no, he did. He was a all-state halfback.
Okay.
And he run down the damn hallway and said, "I got Murray's panties." Well, embarrassed shit or heard, she went home and told her parents, and of course they called the police.
Sure.
So then, that was back in '49. And so the principal called us in and said that, the next morning when we come to school, they better bring our panties back. And I said, "I don't have them." George said he didn't have them. We went home. His dad was a professional boxer.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah. And we pulled up in front of the house. His dad was waiting on him. And when George got out, I had an A-model Ford. When he got out, his dad grabbed me and beat the shit out of him. I mean, he blacked his eyes and everything. And of course, I took off,
Sure.
A-model Ford. So when I went the next morning, I didn't go by to get George to ride with me, because I didn't want to run into his dad.
Didn't want to get your ass whooped.
Right, that's right. So I went on to school, and I was sitting in the principal's office waiting, and George came in, black eyes and everything, carrying a bag. And I saw that bag. I said, "I hope that's his lunch," and I knew it wasn't. So I went to the principal's office, and George put it on his desk. So of course, he expelled both of us immediately. Thank you. He expelled us both, indefinite. Well, we're getting ready to play in the All-State for the championship football, high school football. And George was All-State halfback. So he let him come back. You know why?
Yeah.
He was a football star. And I played on the same team, but I wasn't like George, So I didn't, so I went in the damn Army. That's a fact, I joined the Army.
All right. Here's the next question. If I remember right, in our conversations, you state you had a girlfriend that lived next door.
Yeah.
And you said that you were sending her letters, so you sign up, you falsify your papers, right? And you're at 15 or 16 at this point?
I was 16 when I did.
16, okay. So at 16, you were now officially enlisted.
I enlisted in the National Guard and went to the Army, yes.
And went to the Army, okay. So at 17, you went from National Guard to Army. You're actually in the Army at 17?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
And I ended up in Korea.
So you're sending these letters home to this girlfriend who later becomes the girlfriend of your brother's friend who was in the Marine Corps.
No, she was my brother.
Wasn't your brother?
Right, we dated a little bit, but back in those days, her mom was so restricted, she couldn't get in the car, couldn't hold hands, and she couldn't leave in front of the house.
Okay.
Okay, so we dated by just seeing one another and talking.
Right.
And her mom would look out the window, so you couldn't do anything. So anyway, when I come back from Korea, well, while I was in Korea, I get a letter from her, but I didn't see it.
Okay.
It was a Dear John. Okay. So when I came back from Korea, she found I was back. She came over to the house. By then, she was working,
Right.
And so she could date and go in cars and stuff, but she had a curfew. See, so we go drive-in movies and stuff, and I put in front of the house. We've been married 62 years. And pulled in front of the house and try to say good night, and you couldn't. Her mom would come up on the damn front porch, so and she would. Oh yeah, she'd come in and shake her fist. Just we sitting there.
Yeah.
So finally, I thought the best thing to do was marry her, so I did. So anyway, all my mail came back from Korea. There's a whole stack of it. And I let it sit down and read it, you know. So finally I started going through it and saw a letter from her, you know. And I opened the letter and it was a Dear John. She had met a Marine. And she'll tell you that if you talk to her.
You outraced the Marine real quick when you got home,
That's
though.
right. She said she was dating a guy that was in the Marines and she wanted me to know about it, you know.
Okay, let's move back to your first experiences with the military. You go in basically at 16. They think you're 17. When you turn 17, they think you're 18, and you're jumping off the National Guard.
Right.
And you're going into the full-blown Army. You're a 100% guy now.
Yeah, I went into the Army when I was still 16. I turned 17 while I was on active duty.
Okay.
At Fort Knoxville. And then, of course, they thought I was 18, you know.
Right. But just to back up just a note, though, you're originally from Virginia?
Yes, Richmond.
And you sign up in Richmond.
It's the National Guard, yeah.
But you do your basic in Fort Knox?
Yeah, when I went on active duty, they shipped me to Fort Knox. That's when I...
All right. Your first spec, what was your requirements? Were you just average infantryman, or did they?
Well, no, when I was in the National Guard, Bobby, they shipped me to Indiantown Gap, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
Because that was the artillery unit.
Okay.
Okay. So I took training in artillery.
All right.
Okay. And then when I went on active duty, I went to come to Fort Knox. And when I took the training here, I took it in armor. That you get the three main branches, artillery, armor, and infantry.
Correct.
And then I shipped out to Japan, which as soon as I got there, the Korean War started, and I ended up there. And they real called everybody, real signed them, and assigned me to an infantry. And you know, I told them, I said, hell, I've had artillery training and armor. Now I'm going in infantry, where I really didn't have infantry training other than basic, you know.
Right.
So I was assigned to 31st Infantry.
Okay. So
Which I was happy, you know, later.
All right. At 31st Infantry, your commander, is that Commander Faith?
No, he wasn't.
Okay.
When I went in, I was with the 2nd Battalion, 31st Infantry. And we made a couple beachheads, okay?
All right.
And the second one we made, we went all the way up to the frozen chosen, whatever
Do you remember the
call it.
beachhead?
Huh? From the beachhead, from the second
It was in
beachhead.
Sean, wasn't it?
Right, we went all the way up there, okay? When we got up there, you know, we lost a few people. And when I made the first beachhead, I was a private, first class. And when I made the second one, which was about 43 days later, the first one was Incheon, the second one was E1.
Okay.
So when I made the one at E1, between that time we had gotten down, lost a lot of people, you know. So they called the reserves up from World War II and assigned the replacements to us.
Okay.
But this company commander said I'd been there, you know, the first beachhead. So he made me the platoon leader.
Yeah, did they call you Lucky?
Yeah, he made me the platoon leader. And so I went from a private first class to master sergeant, or sergeant first class,
Right.
in 43 days.
In 43 days. Now,
And I didn't know anything. I couldn't read a map or nothing.
so back to the story though, they give you a radio to carry as you're getting off for the beachhead.
Yeah,
Is
the
that
first
Incheon or is that?
Incheon, I was a radio operator for the company commander, who was a guy by the name of Cook.
Okay.
Okay. And he got down to company headquarters, got down to LST. And before then, he told me to call all the platoons. You had 4 platoons.
Right.
And tell them to hook the chin straps on the steel helmet.
Right.
And I had 2 radios, 300 and a PRC-6 with 2 handsets.
Wow.
And you have to use your hands to climb down the rope. So I had them under that, and I couldn't hook my chin strap because with the 2 receivers, transmitters, under that, holding them against your ears so you can hear, there's no way you can hook the damn thing.
Right.
So I got about halfway down, and same captain, Cook, he was on the LST. He was already there, and he took his helmet off, and he had his map, and he was trying to orientate the way he was landing on the beach. And I got halfway down, my damn foot got hung in the rope, you know, so I looked down to see why I couldn't get it out. My steel helmet come off, and it came down. If you know what a steel helmet is.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so the flat part of it came down, hit him right in his head, and he was bald-headed, and blood went everywhere and knocked him unconscious for a few seconds.
Knocked him stupid.
Yeah, so I didn't know what to do, if I should try to come down or go on back up. So he howled at me, he says, Cottrell, he said, if you don't get off this rope, I'm gonna shoot you all. So I came on down.
That motivated you.
Yeah, so after we made the beach and all, he told me, he was more or less joking, but I didn't know at the time. He told me I went to sleep coming down the rope, so he couldn't use me as a radio operator. He had to get another one, somebody else, to stay awake. And remember, 43 days later, he made me the platoon leader. The platoon I went to.
Okay, so you tell me, if remember, so 42 guys in your platoon go in. You come up in, Sean, you find yourself on the northeast side of the reservoir.
Yeah.
On your way back, you're down to 7 guys.
7 guys, yeah.
And they make you platoon leader, but before that, they gave you a bazooka to carry.
Yeah, 2.36.
2.36 bazooka.
Yeah, when they knocked those tanks out.
And when you asked them why they were going to make you platoon leader, they called you lucky.
Yeah, lucky.
And the reason why
Because they
you were,
thought I wouldn't make it.
yeah, you're carrying the
carrying that
bazooka. The bazooka guys never make it.
Yeah,
Right?
and the damn thing's so heavy. You know, when you fire and hit the tank, the round go right off.
Yeah, not penetrating.
And the damn tank blow you up or run over you. You know, the only way you could stop an enemy tank with that damn thing was hit it right in the track.
In the track.
You have to get it from the side and hit the track and blow the track off.
Yeah.
You know, that way it could just spin. When
Now,
it's still knocked, they got machine guns to shoot the hell out of it.
there was a tactic brought to the big screen several years ago. And they called them sticky bombs. They basically took tar, and took mortar shells. They would pop them, and the tar would go in a sock, or the shell would go in a sock, and they'd put tar on the sock. They'd pop that shell and throw it at a tank,
Right.
like it was being shot out of a mortar shell. Did you all ever use that technique?
No, down to my knowledge.
Okay. Another story was told to me during the chosen battle that they called the mortar shells Tootsie Rolls. That was part of a code word for the ordering of more ammo in. They wanted a Tootsie Roll, they wanted mortar shells. And the story goes, in the infinite wisdom of the U.S. Army or Marine Corps, Navy, or Air Force, or whoever shipped these things in, they literally shipped 2 cases of Tootsie Rolls instead of mortar shells like the code would suggest. They said it was so cold, though, that one of the commanders said, go ahead and pass them out. We got them. We might as well use them. So the guys start chewing them up. They find out it got real soft. And they were plugging gas leaks and holes in their cars or in their vehicles and stuff, and got their vehicles running
Right.
with a Tootsie Roll. Did you ever hear that story?
No, I never heard that.
So you never seen anything like that while
Never
you were
seen
there?
anything. We
Okay.
would, it was so damn cold, Bobby, that it was 20 to 30 below zero. Everybody's getting frostbite and frozen feet and everything. We had some equipment.
Yeah.
You know, we didn't have the winter equipment then. We got it later, but real later. We got in the winter of 51, but the winter of 50, we didn't have it, nobody.
Missed you by a whole
A whole,
365.
yeah, a whole damn season we missed.
Wow.
But,
I understand that the PLA, the groups that you were going at, their divisions, the 58th, the 60th, your particular case, I think you were going against the 79th and the 80th Division of the Chinese Army.
I don't remember what the units were. All I can tell you is that it was thousands and thousands of them.
Over 60,000.
You could sit there and with all your weapons, your water-cooled machine guns, your 50 calibers, everything, and just fire at them, and they would go down like firewood, just fall down. and behind them was another group of people
Another
that
thousand.
would pick up the weapons.
Yeah.
Or they had more people than they had weapons,
Right.
But when they would pick it up from the wounded and kill, and keep coming.
And keep coming.
You couldn't, they'd go right through you. So finally, when we got surrounded and everything up there, I had about 7 people left. So that's all I had. And that's when I run into Colonel Faves. They had a convoy on the road. I remember a bunch of trucks on the road, and they had bodies and wounded in there.
Right.
Of our people, Americans. They had their bodies, and we didn't want to leave anybody behind.
Right.
So they had them in there. So we didn't know the unit was disbanded. You follow me?
Right.
I mean, done.
Yeah,
Deleted, right.
Everybody, no leaders.
Right. So I had my people, for 7 of us. So I happened to see somebody. I asked him who was in charge, and he told me Colonel Faith. Now Faith, he was on a rescue mission. You follow me?
Uh-huh.
And he took over as commander when the regimental commander got killed up there. Faith became the commander because he was senior. You follow me?
This is November 27th.
Yeah, he came up. They formed a rescue unit to come up to rescue us when we were surrounded, and that's when Faith come into play.
So he came up to you?
Well, the unit came to rescue everybody
Okay.
that was surrounded, you know, and Faith was sitting in a 3/4 ton, and he had been wounded. So I asked who do I see to find out what to do, because everybody was wandering around.
Right.
There was no company headquarters or nothing. So I went over there, and he told me he wanted me to take my unit and guard the convoy, because he was going to try to get through back to Hung Nam, because they had about,
Yeah.
they was going to try to get through. And I told him, I said, well, sir, I only got 6 people, myself 7. He said, that's all you got? And I said, that's all we got. He said, well, you just need to take your men and try to infiltrate back, you know, not with the convoy, just try to get back to friendly lines.
Wow.
So what I did, I broke them down and had 4 to go in one group. I took 2 with me. And how we got back, we followed the Yale River, which separates north from south.
Right.
That's deep as one of the deepest rivers. It was frozen.
Right.
That's how damn cold it was. The thing was frozen. So we at night would walk down the ice, and during the day we'd hide. Now we started that day, so 4 days and 3 nights we got back. Me and those 2 people.
Do you remember the dates?
No, I don't remember the dates.
Okay. That's all right.
I'm gonna say it was in December sometimes,
Okay.
because we had Thanksgiving dinner.
On the 28th, yeah, on the
It
28th.
could have been the last of November, but
Yeah, on the 27th and 28th, Faith is in control,
right.
and he's on his
That
way
was-
south to
right.
Hudong, and then from there to Hagaru. That's about a 10-mile trek from
Yeah,
his original position.
Yeah, he got killed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They said he was walking on the ice, injured. He approached what he thought was an American citizen, or American soldier, turned out to be a Chinese, and was shot in the head right there on the spot.
I got he was killed, but because I was gone by then. I was on the ice too. But one of the days it was third day out.
Okay.
It was 3 nights, 3rd day. So we was looking for just before daybreak. We'd find a place along the bank up in Hyde where you missed the Chinese. That was all over the damn place.
Yeah.
So we went up there and we found a place to hide. There was an army captain there.
You remember his name?
No, I don't remember his name, but he had his wallet out and his legs was frozen all the way up to past his knees.
Yeah.
Okay, and he was just sitting there, but he was conscious, and well, we give him some rations we had and something to drink, and he had his wallet out, and he told us, he says, "Here's a picture of my baby." I never seen it, but my wife had it while I came here.
Yeah.
And I think he knew he was done in. So we stayed with him at night. And I mean, that day, when it got dark, we had to leave.
Right.
So he thought we was going to take him with us, but we could not.
Right.
Okay, because he was frozen.
Right.
There's no
Probably
way.
to the ground.
No way you could drag him down the ice.
Right.
So I reached up and pulled his dog tags off, and he knew then when I took his dog tags off that he was.
He knew the story.
Yeah. So I took him off. I took one dog tag and kept it so I could report him, what he was. And the old one was tied to his bootstring.
Right.
So I reached down on his foot and jerked his, foot a little bit, straightened it out, and his whole damn foot come off.
Wow.
I mean, he didn't even know it. Just come right off. Didn't bleed, nothing.
Yeah, they said that it was
like
so cold that a stomach wound would coagulate and they couldn't bleed out because it was too cold to bleed out.
Right. So he didn't even know his foot come off, with boot and everything.
Now, if I get you into a subject matter that you don't want to talk about, we've talked about this before, don't hesitate to cut me off. I don't want to start digging.
Well, I don't mind talking about it. It ought to help sometimes.
Well, a good question to ask, and I've talked to an adjutant general about this. I've talked to a few other guys. A lot of people go in the military, and they're not everybody's built to be a commander. Not everybody's built to be a platoon sergeant or so on and so forth.
Right.
And you've always struck me, and I've known you 16 years now, you've always struck me as having a very clear head and very direct in your thinking. So on
I was taught that in the Army. I was raised in the Army.
Okay. So this has been your path, and it's worked for you well even afterwards.
Yeah, well, I'm stadium from 49 to 72.
49 to 72.
And I was raised there.
Yeah.
And some of the best people I ever met in my life was in the Army.
Yeah.
I mean, they're the best people you meet.
Were you aware that there is a kind of a dissension in the ranks, and I'm using very poor choice of words here. The Marine Corps, which represented about 24,000 of the chosen battle,
Right.
with a total of 30,000 when you had the two Army regiments, and then there's some, I don't know if they were Canadian Royal Commandos.
Right.
I think there was about 41, 42 of those guys, so on and so forth. When they had the chosen few reunions, I was told that the Army kind of got overshadowed tremendously by the Marine Corps in how that story was told. And in fact, it's not until the last 10 or 15 years that individuals in the Army had decided to have reunions separated from the Marine Corps,
Right.
the chosen Army. Have you ever attended any of those?
No, I never attended a reunion with some Marines. I got a brother retired from the Marines.
Did you ever attend a retirement with the Army with regards to the chosen? Were you ever a chosen few retirement?
No, I met some of them, that's been there, but back then we didn't talk about it much.
Well, there is a host of people out there that are wanting to know this story.
Right.
And the Army story has barely been told because there's just not enough people out there with information. And just looking through your photos of Korea, some of the newspaper articles that have been written, so on and so forth, and your own perspective of it, can fill in a lot of these gaps. And that's one of the reasons why we're doing an audio as well.
Right.
I've got a kind of a short story list of the Army's positions, starting with your story with regards to faith.
Right.
Him getting his command when his commander was killed. He's north of Hudong, and he's moving to Honolulu. That's about a 10-mile trek. Hudong is just north of that is where he starts. He brings the 31st down with him, 32nd down with him. In Hudong, there's an airport at Honolulu. And that's when the Marine Corps comes in from the west side, and they're fighting their way back south. And all this becomes one big hodgepodge, according to what the stories tell us now. When they move from that city southward, I'm told that the Marines are fighting their way south. They're in the lead of the the convoy,
Right.
and the Army regiments were in the rear protecting the rear. Does that sound accurate to you?
It could have been, yes.
Okay. When you get into Hellfire Valley, which is the valley set just below Hagaru in the airport, you have two Chinese divisions on your eastern flank, one division on your western flank, and you're all literally walking this valley.
Right.
They bring in the Air Force and they're running strafing runs. Do you recall being involved by friendly fire during that time?
Well, you know, it's hard to talk about friendly fire because when you're surrounded, you know, by the enemy, in this particular case we're talking about,
Right.
the Chinese had the Army and the Marines both surrounded.
Right.
You had to fight your way back to the ocean. Okay, so therefore it's very possible that you can have enemy fire by lack of coordination, so forth, so on. But it's hard to blame anybody for it. You follow me? I'll give you one example. This is after we went loaded up and went back to Pusan and reorganized and went up on line. We was taking a hill one time and they had B Company was the Chinese was up on the hill and they had B Company and they was trying to take it on a frontal attack, which you always did. Okay, so it was decided that they was losing too many people, that they would flank the enemy and send George Company up on the left side of the ridge, you know. And I think B Company, another company, is going to be the right side. And then, of course, my company was E Company. We was keeping them on the fire till we got the word to lift the fire. You follow me?
Yeah.
But what happened is that we ceased fire. Okay, the enemy figured out what was going on, so they withdrew. Chinese and North Koreans withdrew off this hill. Okay. Both companies come up like that, they got in a firefight with one another. But the bad thing about it, we had called an airstrike in napalm, and this company come up on the left side, stopped the other company from coming. They took the hill.
Yeah.
And by the time they took the hill, the jets, Air Force jets come over and emptied the napalm on them. Say, so we wiped out a lot of that unit.
Yeah.
And then of course they had to withdraw and everything, both units. And of course as soon as they did, guess what? Chinese come back
Here
up.
come the Chinese.
See, so that happened.
So they were like pecking at you at every turn and every opportunity.
Right, so you can't, you know, you really, on friendly fire, you really can't pinpoint somebody.
Yeah, I'm not looking for blame here.
Right,
I'm just wondering
right.
what your opinion and your take is on the matter. That's all.
It's plenty of times, even in Vietnam, they had friendly fire, you know, and people get so frustrated and everything, you know.
Mistaken coordinates, there's a
Right.
host of reasons why
Right.
this could happen.
Right.
Yeah. You know, that's something I don't think gets told a lot.
When you get 500,000 or 1,000,000 people fighting a war, there's a possibility you have friendly fire. There's no way to keep from it.
Just to go to a little bit of the lighter side of the news here. There's not a lot of great things you can say about any particular war or any particular battle. But just to go to the lighter side of the news, in your time as a young man going into the Army, what's your favorite funniest story to tell?
I don't know what
You run any pranks on anybody? Anybody run a prank on you?
It's funny, I remember one time I got to be careful that before, when we was in Japan, before we shipped out to come back to the States, have we put a time over, they restrict you because they check you for police and BD
Sure.
and everything before they load on the ship. So,
Check you for Laos before you
right,
go to Laos.
so GIs, you know how they are, and they want to go and get female.
Right.
And so somebody had cut a hole in the fence, you know, where we was at, Osaka. That's where we was at. And they had cut a hole in the fence. And one of the guys with me told me, he says, Ray says, you want to go, you know, that night. I said, where is it? He says, it's a place over there where they run, you can go there and get a girl. I said, hell, I said, yeah, I'll go. So we went through the fence, and when we got there, they had a Japanese there in a boat, a rowboat. They had to row you across some water from here to the highway.
Yeah.
You know, you couldn't walk, hell, it's cold than hell again.
About 75 yards.
Yeah, so we got in the boat and went over there, and they have a custom, okay? Snow was damn deep. So I went down and went in with the girls, you know, and stayed. And it made you take your shoes off, your boots. And we couldn't go inside with the damn boots. You had to leave them on a porch. It's custom in Japan.
Right.
So I put my boots there and went inside and stayed for about an hour. And I come out, somebody stole my boots. You know, damn boots. All I had was socks. And I had to walk through that snow all the way to where the boat was. Get across the thing, you know, go across the open field, get back through the damn fence.
Cut through the hole.
Oh, hell, through the snow. Like, that ended up being pretty funny.
Well, let me be clear about something. You're a Virginia boy. I would think a trip to the outhouse in the middle of winter wasn't going to be much different.
Yeah, it is.
You disagree, huh?
You get 30 degrees and, you know,
Yeah.
but,
Was it worth it?
That wasn't funny at the time, but it might be funny now.
Yeah, I'm getting a laugh out of it.
Stupidity on my side, funny.
Was it worth the trip?
Yeah, it was worth the trip
Will you
later.
cover the camera?
At the time it wasn't, no. When I went outside and my boots were gone, I wished I never went over there. You didn't know what to do.
Right. Getting back to Korea, okay, we're past, let me see, December 10th. You're getting on the boats. You've been through Hellfire Valley.
Yeah.
You've been through the Treadway Bridge. Did that go smoothly?
Yeah.
Did it? Then by then, once you get past Treadway, there's one more battle, and I think that's about it. Everybody's heading south to get out. And that's pretty much the end of the story.
Well, yeah, when you get there, all you have is what you have on.
Yeah.
So they have duffel bags, you know, double, there's 1,000 of them where people came in and left the bags there. And you go over there, and of course, they was KIAs